All right, so we were waiting for this to dry, and I got a little bit crazy because I do that sometimes. You gotta watch me. I was looking at these branches, and they seem so flat to me. So let me show you what I did next, and you can pause your video and let's see, I dripped some water on my picture. You can pause your video and do this on yours, and then meet me back for laying in the body of our peacock. Okay, I took this little tiny round brush. This particular one's a cheapo. It doesn't have a number, but I'm gonna guess it's around a 2. You could use this one. Okay, basically the same thing, a number 2 round brush. And I took some of our brown here and put it over here, and I scooped up, you can see I scooped up some white, and I made that this really pale brown color. Okay, I don't know if you can see that real well. And I added a lot of water to it. Not a lot. A couple of drops. And I'm going to go in and lay in some highlights. Just tiny little highlights, okay? So if you look at our painting here, you'll see that I have put some lights just on a few places to where the sunlight hits the tree branches, okay? And this little bit of color variance really makes us look like we know what we're doing. I am all about actually teaching skills. So sometimes it is laborious because, you know, it takes time to learn. But there's really no way to get around learning. You just have to do it. So anyway, if you want to come in here, you don't have to do this. You can leave yours exactly how it is and it would be beautiful. But if you're interested in really pushing your skills a little, come in here and just, you don't want to do the whole thing. I don't want you to go over the whole thing. Just hit some little places where the sun might be hitting those tree branches and just give a little wiggle, okay? And that will, you will start to be amazed. As you do that, your tree almost comes alive. And that little tiny step is what will bring you into really being an artist. It's little details like that that artists do that set them apart, okay? So, but don't feel bad if you don't really want to do that. That's totally cool. I'm not trying to diss on anybody. But I want you to understand that how easy it is to actually step up your game just a little bit, okay? So I think I'm about happy with that. I actually did more than I wanted to just because I was going to show you how I did it. But now we have 3 colors of brown on that tree. And doesn't it look nice? It really, to me, it really brought our flowering bush that we're making to life. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Okay, so go ahead, stop your video if you want to do that, and go ahead and take care of that. Now remember, we added this sienna to this well, and then added some of our white in there and made a very light brown. So now we're working with 3 different colors of brown, okay? And the next step that we're going to need is this, I put some more of this in there just in case we needed it. We may not need that much, but I added a little bit more just because I like to have it there. And then we're going to need this dark blue. Now, my dark blue is not called dark blue. It's actually called ultramarine blue. Your blue may be a little bit different, but this one almost seems to glow. And that's because it's an ultramarine blue. It's almost purple. It's just so intense. So just pick your blue color. Now, we are going to be using purple, so don't go purple. If you go purple now, you might have trouble transferring some of the other instructions later, okay? So don't go purple, but we're going to use this ultramarine blue next, and then maybe a little of this light blue. And let's get started mapping in our bird. I'm going to get my round brush. Probably I will start with a medium round brush, okay? And I'm going to check my notes really quick. I have little notes that I take while I'm doing a study for a work. I don't know if you all know our process. I will start off, I'll just talk while you all do that. I will start off with an idea, kind of what I want to do, and then I'll do some research. I will look through, 5 or 6 different paintings that I think are good or well done. I'll look for the things that I like about them. And then I make a drawing for our painting. I worked on a sketch that I just threw across the room. Let me get, while you're painting your highlights, I will grab it. So then I will sometimes, I don't always work like this, but sometimes I'll make a sketch. Let me show it to you really quick. This is my sketch for this painting. Okay, just mapping out where I want to put things in general, okay? And then I will do, sometimes I'll do a study like I did with this one first, where I actually just do the painting. But there's sometimes that I just do the painting in the video and I'm actually figuring it out as I am teaching it. So now let us get going. We are going to do our bird. So here is the ultramarine. I'm using a medium round brush. Okay. And what I want to do first is establish sort of the body part of this bird. Because we put these sticks in first, we need to make sure that our body placement is good. So we're going to do it's sort of going to be like a moldy looking egg. We're going to kind of do a little thing like that. Come down here, and we're just kind of going to make a little blob of a body. Okay, just like that. We're just laying out shape right now, so don't get too picky with yourself. That is the body of the bird, and then the tail will come out this way. Okay, now we're going to establish the neck and the head. I am going to start with where I want the head to be, which is going to be right here, and I'm going to make an oval. Okay. We may end up making it a little bit bigger. In the study, I did the bird first, and then I put in the trees, which probably would have been a better idea, but I got ahead of myself because I was having fun. Now, we need to make this line go from up here to here. So let's plan where we want this to come in at. We want it to come in here. That's the neck spot. So I just put little ticks there so I can see. And then the neck is going to attach right here. Okay? So we need to make sure that we are knowing where we're going and what kind of an arc we want. Okay? So let's do a big swoop. Okay? And then we are going to just whoop. Now our neck is a little weird. I may have to fix that line, so I am going to go ahead and correct it because I didn't quite get it the way that I wanted. We're going to just sort of slender that out a little bit. Okay, we want the scale to be right. Now you're going to fill that in. Okay, so it's basically like 2 ovals and a loop that connects them. And you are going to be amazed at yourself. You are totally going to be amazed because you can totally do this. It's just, you just need somebody to tell you that you can. I hope that you're not overwhelmed. I try really hard not to be overwhelming, but sometimes I am. People tell me that. We're going to add 2 little humps. Do you see? 2 little humps right there. And we don't want the body to be perfectly round, so you can give it, some other little movements just to make it not quite clean. But this right here is going to end up coming down into the feathers, okay? So don't worry too much about the shape of the bottom at this point. Just get a good layer of paint. Make sure it's laid down really well. And we are going to not do much more on this head right now because we want it to dry a little bit. We're going to move on to our flowers. And that will be the end of video 1. Unless I change my mind. Oh, it's starting to look like a brachiosaur now. Now, the other thing we need to do is make this crest. So go ahead and put your crest there. And I need to clean this line because I've messed it up. And because I did that, I might need to make my peacock body just a little bit bigger to compensate. All right, so get that filled in. Don't forget your little crest, which is a swoop like this right into the head, and then leave it alone. Okay, don't keep messing with it too much. All right, we're gonna leave that there for now. And now I'm going to switch palettes a little bit. I'm going to put this one over here because I might need to use some of that white. I don't like to waste paint. So I had a bunch of red in this palette here from something else and a little white. So I'm going to do some pink right here in this place. And we're going to lay in our flowers. Now, I mean, make sure that your branches are pretty dry. They should be pretty dry by now. But if not, dry them. Stop the tape and dry them because you don't want your flowers to get that kind of thing going on. Now, I actually originally had decided that I would use white for the flowers, but I actually kind of liked the pink. So I went ahead and just went with it because it's colorful and pretty. All right, I have white and my cat is doing something as usual. She's very mischievous. Her name is Noki. Did you hear me talking about you? She was one we adopted from a family that couldn't keep her, and she's a pistol, as we say in my family, or a corker. All right, so we are mixing white and red together to get a pink. Just get the kind of pink you like. If you want a different color, if you want it to be more like magenta or something, that's fine. Change the red out to magenta. I wouldn't recommend going too purple because all of the rest of the picture reads purple and blue, okay? So I would say white, pink, a pale yellow might work, pale orange might work, okay? Magenta would be really pretty, I bet, with some white in it. All right, so we're just gonna make up plenty here, okay? We may end up having to make more, and I'm just getting it blended up really well. I hope you can see that. And now we're going to lay in our flowers. Now, I'm going to start, I think I might go with the smaller brush on some of these, but okay, let's go ahead and start. Let's start right here. All right, we're going to press our brush, our round brush, down. I don't know if you can see that. And then we're just going to pull up, okay? Push, and then twist as you pull up, okay? Push down, twist as you pull up. We have sort of a crown, like a fleur-de-lis going on here. And then you're going to want to do the same thing. Push down and turn. Push down and turn. And maybe one coming at the bottom. Push down and turn. Okay? So you're just laying in that white portion of your flower, or that pink portion of your flower. We're going to come up here. Maybe do one here. So you don't want them all to be the same size. Okay? Just make them, some of them smaller, some of them bigger, and you might do better with a smaller brush. A smaller round brush. So those both look about the same. I'm going to make this one just a little bit bigger. Okay, and then I'm going to do a really big one up here. So again, we are pressing down and then pulling up as we flick, okay? Takes a little practice. You could practice on something else first if you wanted to. These, I'm actually going to go on the other side too. For some of these, you want to come back the other direction. So do one and then do the other. Okay. but we don't want them all to be really big. I'm going to put a big one right here, and then you see we have big, big, and big. You see that? It's like an imaginary triangle. So big, 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 and all the rest will be smaller. So this one we're going to make really kind of big. Not terribly big, but this flower's been growing for a long time. And I'm making this one bigger in this video than I did the other one, but I kind of like it. Okay, so we've laid in our pink flowers. Now let's get a small brush. I'm going to go to that smaller round brush. This is a number 3. You could use a number 2. Okay, we're going to go in that same color and do our smaller flowers. There's maybe one up here. But you know, you put them where you want them, okay? You don't have to do it exactly like mine. You might have a different result with your arrangement, okay? But you can make that decision based on what your painting looks like. And that is a-okay. You can change the colors if you wanted. That one got a little bit big. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other side of this flower because I feel like it's looking too much like a starfish like I did on my last video. Okay. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Let's do this one a little bit bigger since I kind of made that other one big. Okay. All right. Now let's really stay small. Okay. So we need one somewhere in here. I had it kind of come in here, but I think I'm going to move it in this picture. I'm going to make it here. Now let's do it really small this time. You can come over the frame a little. It's okay. All right. And then I need a little one down here maybe. Let's do it off the side, okay? Just a little bit off the side on this side. Because even though we don't have it there yet, we're going to have tail coming down there. So we don't want the flower to get cut off too much by the tail of the peacock. All right, friends, we are almost done with video 1. We have just a few more things to do. And then I'm gonna stop this and we'll go on to video 2, okay? And you can take a break and do it whenever you want. Now let's go in. Let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flowers. That's good. Now, there are some other things that I did. One of the things is I added buds. So let's do a bud. Let's just take one of these branches and just do a little turn like that. Not all of them. Okay, because some of them are going to have leaves on them. But some of these places might need a little bud coming up off. And I need to put a branch on that one. Just a few. And up here would be real pretty. Maybe if we did one right there. I'm just turning my brush and flicking out. Maybe here. Just make the decision where you want them. You know, I said we were almost done, but really we're not. We'll take a break for a minute. Let's put some white in here in our flowers. Okay, so take some white in your little round brush and let's give some lights. Okay, just where the sun would hit them. And it's okay if it blends into the white a little, or to the pink. We're just going to hit it with some highlights, okay? I'm just doing some little swooshes out from the center. Excuse me. You don't have to put any white on your buds if you don't want to. They're really small, so I think, you know, I probably will just mostly leave mine. All right. Now, there's one more thing that I want to do before we stop, and that is going to be adding green to our palette, okay? Now, I am going to add green to this one, but you can put it in your original. And we're going to make two greens. We're going to make a light green and a dark green. So you will need a little black, okay? And what we're going to do is first mix it up. Mix up our two colors. I'm going to take a little of this light green and put it here, and then just a touch of black. Just a touch. This is a little bit dried up. See, just a touch on there. And then mix it here. And what we're going to do is make a little bit darker green. Actually, I want to make it even darker than that. So let me get just another little touch of black. You can't take black away, but you can always add more, right, friends? My lighting is not very good today, if you can see that. Okay, so here's our dark green. We're going to start with dark green and a small round brush, a number 2 or 3 round brush. Okay, so here's my number 2 round brush, and I'm going to dip in that dark green, and we're going to come in here and do our buds first. We're going to put just a little place where the bud connects. This is a small, just a small little couple of flicks. Doesn't have to get real detailed, just connect it, okay? We want it to look like it's growing forth, not that it's just floating in the air. So just put a couple of little lines like this. One more. You can always add more. Like if you like later on, you can, don't wash out your palettes until the very end because you may have a thing that you'd like to do. Okay. All right. Did I get all of the buds? I think I got all the buds with green. Now let's get a medium round brush like this, and let's lay in some leaves. Okay. And then the leaves are the last thing that we're going to do on this painting. So we're going to go in with this dark green, and we're going to do the same kind of motions that we did with our flowers. We're going to press hard down and then flick, okay? Lay down your darks first. Don't go too crazy. You want to have plenty so that it looks believable, but you don't want to have so many that it looks junky, okay? Gosh, I did not make enough of that green. I'm going to have to go make up some more here real quick. Here we go. All right. Oh, look at my brush. Sometimes when you mix with the same brush you're painting with, it gets a little bit juicy. So push down, then flick. Push down, flick. I tend to do leaves around the flowers, kind of coming out from the flowers sometimes to kind of ground them, so they actually look like they're part of the tree. And that one might end up getting covered up there. Just want it to be very, I'm gonna maybe use a smaller brush here in a minute. Press, turn your brush and flick. You're just doing this twisting motion, a lot like we did with our branches, okay? I'm going to use a smaller brush for some of these. I might do one there. We'll just kind of look at it overall. What do we see? What do we need? Okay. Okay, for big ones, I'm pretty happy. I'm going to get my small round brush. Do a couple of the small ones, like right in here, okay? Hope I'm not in the picture. This one I'm going to kind of... Let's do a couple off the side here. Okay, let's take a look at it. And then you're going to go in and highlight with some light green, okay, just like we did with the tree. Okay, so just go back over the things that you've just done with the small brush using your light green. And then I'm not gonna stay for the whole thing, but you just go ahead, come in here with your light green and do a little some little swooshes. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to give it a little bit of color highlight to bring it to life. Especially on these areas where there is dark brown, it's going to look a lot better to be able to see that leaf, okay? You don't even have to do it to all of them. So go ahead and lay those in, and then we're going to stop video 1, and you'll go to video 2, okay? It's been so fun. I hope you're getting excited about your work, and this would be the time that if you want to tweak anything or change how you've done something so far, this is a good time before you begin the next section to just kind of look at it and say, I like this or I don't like that, and then you can change it, okay? You can work on it a little bit. There's no hurry, and you can watch the video anytime you want. All right, I'm going to stop for right now. We'll see you in the next section. Okay, really quick, I'm just going to jump on here, and we're going to lay in the blue, which I actually was supposed to do that before. So we're going to come from this tail part here. We're going to kind of we are going to end up covering up that flower, I guess. Just fill it all in with blue. And then you need to let it dry. Now, full disclosure, I just looked at my footage from the first part of this video, and I'm going to end up, I said to go to video 2, but some of this is going to end up on video 3 just because we have quite a bit of footage. This is a detailed painting. It is. Not normal what we would do on the site like this, but sometimes it's fun to push ourselves a little. So there probably will end up being at least four videos, okay? I only took an hour to paint this picture, just so you all know, but when you go to talk about things and you give people instruction, it does add to the time of doing it. So it would go from me working on it for an hour to finish it from start to finish myself to probably 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours of video instruction, maybe even 3, okay? So that's something a lot of people don't realize, is that when you're doing a video, you have to slow down the rate at which you are doing certain tasks because you're explaining, and it does add to the time, which is why this would not be it would be fun as a live video, maybe planned once a week for a couple weeks, but it's really not, it's too long to sit for this amount of time from start to finish for most people. So that's why it's probably good this is a YouTube video. All right, let that dry, and I'll see you on the next part.